get into today's shocking scandal news. Stacy Herbert, talk to me.
When any country descends into third world status, a crucial ingredient of this is massive corruption. So I want to look at the corruption and as I was saying, the leverage and the bankers that brought America to this state. Hedge fund managers' secret insider trading code. How's the weather in healthcare? So a former hedge fund manager has basically been settled with the SEC for insider trading on a Merck deal. Merck Pharmaceuticals bought a flu vaccine company. And one of his friends was doing the due diligence for Merck and gave him the information about what the price would be by saying the weather was in the 50s. So this guy, this hedge fund manager, Stephen Goldfield, just settled with the SEC. He made a $14 million gain on his illegal trading, and he paid a fine of $600,000 without having to admit any guilt or anything like that.
Let me explain something here, okay? This is all about neoliberal economics, Milton Friedman-esque Chicago School economics, trickle-down economics, keeping interest rates artificially low for year after year after year, fueling speculative bubbles after speculative bubbles. The real economy shrinks. Jobs have now been exported away. GDP is in decline. Deflation grips the American economy. Trickle-down theory was a hoax, and all you have are these speculative bubbles. But now that the bubbles have burst, you still need liquidity in the system, and that liquidity is coming from fraud. Pure financial fraud is the number one component of the American economy today. It's like that old Woody Allen joke. He said, "Doctor, my brother thinks he's a chicken." The doctor says, "Here, give him these pills." And the guy says, "No, you don't understand. We need the eggs." In other words, American economy is now pure fraud. But the cure for this pure fraud would mean that there is no liquidity at all in the system, eggs, and the entire economy would come to a screeching, grinding halt immediately. That's not going to happen because Bernanke and Geithner and Obama are as corrupt as any financial corrupt people I've ever seen on Wall Street, including Ivan Boesky, who's one of the most corrupt in history. These guys are the absolute most corrupt.
Well, you were talking about fraud in the system, and we've often talked about fraud is the system. That is all there is in America, and no place epitomizes that more than the Dow Jones. Well, we know that, 70% of all trades is high-frequency trading. This is in the news. SEC probes canceled trades. So regulators are scrutinizing what some in the stock market are calling quote stuffing, trading which unusually large numbers of orders to buy or sell stocks are placed in a fraction of a second only to be canceled almost immediately. Well, Max, the practice is also known as sub-penny pricing, and the Wall Street Journal describes that as this. In the sub-penny pricing method, the orders are priced in increments as small as 1/10 of a cent and far away from the actual price at which a stock is trading.
There you go. Let me explain what's going on here. Usually, the way prices occur on the exchange during what's called the price discovery mechanism is that you've got buyers and sellers. They meet anonymously in the Adam Smith-like invisible hand of the market, and a clearing price occurs, and both are mutually satisfied, both the buyer and the seller. The result, the exhaust of that interaction is the current price, which is constantly changing as more buyers and more sellers interact on the market. What you're describing is that big banks on Wall Street, like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all the gang down on Wall Street, they pick a price first. Then they flood the exchange with orders, what is being referred to as quote stuffing, forcing that price mechanism to go toward the price that they've pre-selected. Now that's price fixing. That's command and control economics, which we've seen in other economies and other eras. It didn't work. It's a repudiation of free market capitalism. It's a repudiation of all that anyone in America holds sacred. It is absolute financial undiluted, unquestionable tyranny. These quote stuffers, if the founding fathers of America were around today, okay, you know what would happen to these quote stuffers. You know, I know, you know, okay? It wouldn't be pretty. It would involve a very heavy, very sharp object, and I'll let you fill in the blanks from there. But this is outrageous. These people who are engaged in this are literally holding America down on the ground with a big fat boot on its neck, and they're knifing it in the face over and over again, and it's bleeding to death, and they don't care. And that's outrageous, and most Americans are asleep at the switch. Bah, bah, bunch of worthless sheep. I'm sick of them all.